Breaking news. War has descended once again.
Now, this is actually a really quick update to our previous Honkai Star Rail tier list update from the Cyrene patch. I think this was less than a week ago. My editor has literally 20 currency war videos in the backlog, a couple of CGN and a bunch of other things, as well as a couple of anomaly arbitration from like 1,000 years ago. So very doubly overworking, if I can say so myself. But without further ado, alas, we have another update to the HSR tier list. I ain't gonna beat around the bush as she beat me up like face out. In this update, we are tackling our most usual MOC and AS at once to address the meta shifts that's emerged throughout 3.6 and 3%. Now, before we even read the rest of this, right, I just begging, bro. Can we please have a currency war tier list? I think currency war is genuinely the best event game mode, whatever it's gonna be, I've ever played in his. I think currency war is literally a billion times better than anything else that I've ever played in HSR, inclusive of Ethereum Wars. Do you remember that? There was an Ethereum War or something where we can literally get to play as Pokemon Masters, right? You get to like play with the other run. That was the closest thing to like a really good game. And then we have a couple of Seal Slammers, B-Bubble, whatever. Currency war though. Bro, this game mode is absolute fucking cinema. Please have a currency war tier list. Because honestly, at this point, as somebody that is almost challenger in currency wars, I'm basically just like 2 wins away, I just really don't really care that much about the MOC, pure fiction, APOC, all the kind of tier lists anymore. So maybe we can all move together as a HSR community to play the real endgame, and perhaps I can whisper to Darway's ear and let bro know, you know what, we are gonna make currency war have a PvP option. Oh my god, that would be pretty exceptional, right? So without further ado, let's just jump right now to the actual tier list update. Starting off, oh, Archer is dead, guys. Holy shit, though. Okay, wait, let me zoom in down a little more. There we go. Oh, Archer is always on the tail end of tier 0, but was close enough that he was able to justify his position. This phase, Archer has seen a significant hit to his performance, pushing him from holding at the bottom of tier 0 to being in the average performance of his tiers in tier 0.5. Oh my goodness, guys. After 10,000 years, he is finally dead, guys. It is so sad, because when a unit goes from tier 0 to tier 0.5, they are instantly deemed as unplayable, right? Imagine being tier 0, bro. It's like tier 0 is like when you made it, and then you all of a sudden have to go with the slums, bro. You have to join the jobbers in the tier 0, but like God forbid you go into the tier 1 category. So really unfortunate news for the Archer mains for this. At least I'm guessing this is gonna be for our current MOC and APOC shadow update. So add what I add, right? A super break. Following in the footsteps of DOT, Super Break continues to underperform compared to their placement on the tier list. We are moving them down again until they see a new support to bring them back up within the meta. So this time, Rabba, Firefly, fuck you, HMC are being adjusted. Oh my good heavens. Oh my good heavens, guys. The fucking meme is about to come to a reality, bro. Give her any more, like, bro, give her, like, can you imagine if Super just didn't get any updates similar to DOT? Okay, in the sense, right, if y'all want to think about it, DOT technically aged better than Super Break. Because DOT didn't get nothing for like 1 year straight ever since Black Swan. I don't think Super Break was even that far off, because the last update was 2.7. You get what I'm saying? Whereas DOT's last update before Highlands was Black Swan at 2.0. So like from 2.7 we have basically not really gotten nothing, and they are really struggling, my man. They are really okay. To be fair, Kafka, right? Kafka is, but then again, well, Kafka is a free update. It's a free update. You didn't have to pull for any other new unit. It was literally a free update. Right? Once you have Kafka, which any self-respecting DOT man would have, they will always have the Kafka in the first place. Then they got a free Kafka update. So at the bottom line, maybe we might be seeing I have no idea why Prydwen is saying this over here. Maybe we were to see a new support. Maybe they might be able to come back into the meta, right? Maybe the environment changes to fit more into Super Break. I'm a little bit more to the skeptical side, so we're just gonna be able to see where this is gonna be going. I like how when they included all of the Super Break team, they didn't include Runway. So we're just see how that's gonna be going. Right? See how it's gonna be. Okay, Super is gonna be there. Blade and Jingliu. Main DPS Blade and Jingliu saw the momentum post buff. Hold up. Let me eat my vegetables. But are now seeing less success and less play as the phase continues. Hold up. There we go. Alright. After Evernight's release, many also filled their HP damage niche with her instead, pushing them further out of the meta. Now, this is especially relevant support damage rate who previously had. Okay, so all that yet for TLDR, Evernight stole their jobs. Nobody cares about them anymore. Everyone move on. Right? Okay, yeah, so that's basically it. Alright. The greatest waste of a unit I've ever. But I feel like Tobes deserves a buff. If they're gonna be going for a buff, right? Tobes should get it. Now that I think about it. If they were to actually rework Tobes in the next rework, if they were to do a rework, because they did say they're gonna do a rework, right? I really hope Tobes gets a buff, bro. It's like, bro, like why is she so okay, primary use alongside Facial, who is now often running without a dedicated follow-up attack damage taking part, or with Cypher, who can feel the flow of Jet generation while also amplifying this is a new trend by a progress right now that we are moving Tobes. Yeah, so like, I feel like with this, right, if Tobes does in fact get a buff, it will kind of remind me of like the DOT situation where they indirectly buff up DOT because they buffed up Kafka, right? So they could actually indirectly buff up follow-up or rather facial by buffing Tobes, and then this will be like a better shape. Then follow-up attack means can compete a little bit better compared to, let's just say that, for example, the HP Scaling Remembrance, whatever version was going to be, maybe Super Break. Like whether or not, anyway, if Super Break gets a new support, right, if that ever happens, right, it will be very nice if I get to see a new buff dedicated to Tobes so that we can get a little bit closer to game. Because right now, as a facial guy, right, as a facial man, as the man whose wife is already facial, I have not remembered the last time I've ever seen Tobes face for the past 1 year. This, right? I've only ever pretty much just used facial with T, with Car, with Hyacinth, and then we got DHPD, and then that's pretty much it, right? I've never ever once, okay, oh my god, I really want to use my E2S1 Tobes, by the way.
The greatest unrelated.
My E2S1 Tobes. It is just that bad. The E2's energy, that's absolutely all. The E1 is honestly not that bad, but it's just that her skill point for economy as well as the number of stat generation is literally slower than Car. Like, how is the follow-up attack unit stack generation literally slower than a car, than a cat? Doesn't make sense, right? And bro is in the Hidity. So please fix this and that is gonna be right. So okay, so that I'm guessing is gonna be for your Memory of Chaos upgrade. We're gonna jump into Apoc Shadows. So that's gonna be that. Super Break. I remember back in my days, right? I always had the firm belief that Pure Fiction was made for Ever-Edition units, and Apoc Shadow was made for Super Break units. But little did I know, Apoc Shadow is actually not meant for Super Break units. It is basically meant for whichever buffs that Apoc Shadow had. More so than Pure Fiction. Because technically both Pure Fiction and Apoc Shadows, they always have their set of 3 different buffs. But for Apoc Shadow specifically, it is way less flexible. Because Pure Vision is always the same, right? It's always you're gonna be up against 5 targets, and then you just always run some erudition. But for like Apoc Shadows, right? If you can't deal the toughness bar damage, or if you're gonna be like, okay, like God forbid you play Rabba, right? I actually mentioned this tweet the other day. I'm not sure if Twitter is still down. Wait, is it still down? Beautiful. Okay, I actually mentioned this tweet the other day. It's like, why doesn't Reba have a weakness implant? You get what I'm saying? Like, if Reba had a weakness implant, I think it would have been a little bit more straightforward to at least still come to terms with the environment that in Apoc Shadows you're gonna be using against those like high toughness bar enemies to break as much toughness bar damage as possible, right? And then the flip side is, even if you were to implant weakness, sometimes you straight up cannot even deal toughness bar damage. For example, the previous Hule, I'm not sure it was like 2 or 3 cycles back then, you literally couldn't damage bro's toughness unless you killed his minions. If you damage his minions, that's how you shave off a bit of his toughness bar. Then you can only deal toughness bar damage during the duel, right? Which is going to be 1v1. So this whole toughness bar mechanic, it becomes a lot more arbitrary. It is not just like, okay, you need to run break units with high break efficiency to break that as far as possible, because if you are not interacting with that boss mechanics, you can't even break them, even if you were going to be using a super break DPS, right? So just a very, very interesting trend of observation. But in any case, let's take a look at what we have over here. We acknowledge that in certain phases playing super break is sustainable. You mean sustainless? Prydwen intern, get your together, right? Okay, Super Break sustainers can see success, but for most players, the characters within the archetype aren't performing at a high enough level to justify their current placement on the tier list. As a result, we are also making placements here as well. So, Boot Hill, Firefly, Tailwind. Okay, so everywhere they are just dead then. You know, I really hope that whatever happens in version 4, right? The 记忆战舰 does not end up like Super Break. And it's a little bit sad, because in version 2, Super Break was like shield to high heavens. More so than Acheron, more so than Facial, more so than Yingli. And version 2 really didn't have a lot of DPS options. It was either Super Break or you ran those 3 for your crit DPS, right? So if version 4, we are gonna be facing a similar fate, I feel like for Remembrance Flagship is probably a little bit more difficult to cook up an environment that you can counter them, but it's not impossible. Alright, okay, like, I'm not a game designer, right? I don't work in a Hoyo HQ cooking up like enemies or whatever, but like even though it's not impossible, but you can still do it. And I'm pretty sure there are like a lot more smarter people out there that can figure out a way that can fully counter or just like really make playing like Remembrance Flagship a lot worse. So for example, the whole max HP reduction that we can see from Currency War, or just straight up just anti-heal like Grievous Wound from like getting a Thorn Mail and all that kind of stuff. And then they pivot back into like another team comp that will just pivot away from Remembrance Flagship. So at that point, it brings me back to a similar situation where if you put for, let's just say, like full E0 on Remembrance Flagship, can you keep up? Can you keep up without a vertical investment on, let's just say, right, I'm going to assume that every single one of y'all put for Hyacinth. So for the Remembrance Flagship, that is like, you know, I'm just going to assume. So like, can people that didn't pull for Cyrene keep up? Right? Can people that didn't pull for E2 Casuals keep up? Can people that didn't pull for E2 Elna keep up, right? And at that point, if you can't keep up, what is like an alternative? Do you go for the brand new latest version for archetype? Or do you want to just kind of take a look and see if this team is still going to be able to prove force their way through, right? So, we'll see how it goes. Between casters, okay, that what goes up will eventually come down. Alright, like right now, I think Final is one of the very, very good examples. I think Final is like, he's not as strong as your Remembrance Flagship right now, cost for cost. But I feel like Final, as long as you... Because he doesn't get shield as much, you can't really fall off as much as well. You know what I'm saying? So if they were to target anti-Remembrance Flagship, they can't target both anti-Remembrance and Final at the same exact time, right? Because one boss has only one mechanic. So I'll be looking forward. I really am interested to see how version 4 has to offer. My guess is gonna be we're HSR players. Of course, our units get power grab in every 3 weeks. That's why I'll see you guys in Chaos Zone and Endeavor, right? So very, very good. Our March 7th Evernight. The combo of Evernight and Casuals has proven itself over multiple phases to be incredibly potent. Blah blah blah. Okay, now a higher play rate. Yep. Okay, very fair. In addition to all changes, we've also adjusted the rating of a number of characters to better reflect the meta line divided between tiers. If a character isn't being actively played and doesn't have a niche, that means their rating should fall within the off meta charts and not the meta ones. So with all that, let's take a look at what we have over here. Alright, let's see. Ooh, okay, so the biggest change right now is essentially Archer died. That was the biggest change. And then previously, this used to be Firefly. I think this used to be Firefly, right? This used to be Firefly, the Bounce Break, and now they're like, oh, they can't even fit in tier 1? Wait, they are tier 2? Oh my god. Oh, that is crazy, bro. Wait, let me take a screenshot of this. Oh, tier 2 on Super Break, by the way, in the same caliber as Jingyuan. Tier 1.5 is basically Blade Jingliu onto the Yunli as a sub DPS. Bro, definitely fell off a lot more. Oh, okay, so I think they pushed these down. And then they pushed the Super Breakers from 1.5 to even lower, right? Like, they pushed this and then they pushed this. So they push everyone back down. And look at it.
The strongest DPS in the entirety of Honkai Star Rail. Bro, I give about Face Yao is truly the absolute best of it. I don't have to judge my position any further than Danny. She's absolutely a fucking monster, so whatever I do.
But anything else other than that, I don't think they're all pretty much just gonna be dying over there. And then for the sub DPS, we have Kafka as well as Avernite. Frankly speaking, I really don't think Avernite main DPS, at least without the vertical investments, is worth being at tier 0. The reason why I say this is because if you were to run Avernite as a main DPS, you are probably going to be ending up with Tribi, Hyacinth, as well as Cyrene, right? Tribi, Hyacinth, Cyrene, Avernite, or you can run RMC, right? That's also the team that we ran for our 0 cycle anomaly arbitration, but that's with an E2 Avernite. So, E0 to E0, I feel like with the lack of that last remembrance slot being Casterus, or temporarily speaking being RMC, she's not gonna be in the same caliber as any of these because they are basically meant to be played as main DPS, right? To a certain extent, even Anexa, because Anexa gets a huge buff from Cyrene, which buffs your Cerebral, which then buffs your Anexa, right? But for Avernite specifically, it's less so. I feel like for tier 0.5, as a main DPS at E0, I think it's pretty fit, right? Nowhere near as strong as her support DPS capabilities. So that's pretty much gonna be there. Blade as well is kind of just chilling, and Anexa is kind of just chilling. Blade kind of fell down a little bit. I feel like Tobas eventually she can just go to tier 2, right? This. I really think this is like the most urgent unit to need a buff in the entirety of version 1. Other than maybe Argenti, but again, nobody plays Argenti, so nobody cares about that. Then we're gonna move on. Okay, everyone's gonna be dead here. I think the sustained place has been relatively untouched, so nothing really too much to be said. Same thing for the amplifiers, right? So nothing too much. Oh, Phil died as well. Oh, you know what? This is actually a little bit more reflective. So I think this brings a very interesting question, which is, you know, Filk was made as like the dedicated Super Break niche support, right? Bro is now in tier 2 after chat. I think it has been almost 1 year, right? Yeah, chat. Okay, like it's been 10 months, guys. It's been roughly 10 months. Oh, it still feels like 2.7 was like last week, guys. Oh, my time flies, bro. It's been almost 1 year since Fuel came out. It's been almost 1 year since Sunday and Fuel came out. Because Sunday came out on the 4th of December. And I've been to holding on Sundays even for all the way until 4th of December. But damn, in 1 year's time, somehow, the unit that came out in 2.7 is gonna be all the way down here with the rest of the Super Breakers. And the unit that has been with us since 1.6 is still chilling out with Bubbin as a tier 0.5. I am wondering who are gonna be adding more to it. I hope they just add more and more units to the show, especially the older units. You either make them a little bit stronger or just add them a little bit more accessible, whichever it's gonna be. If they would, I would really appreciate if they add Spargo though. For no particular reason whatsoever. I feel like if they add Spargo to the shop, I mean, since you are really gonna add a runmate, right, you might as well toss in a Spargo, right? I think that is very fair. Because so far the 3 units, they were runmate as a support, Lurdicha as a sustain, and then Tobas as a DPS, quote unquote DPS out, DPS, whatever. So like if they were to rotate out DPS support, sustain, DPS support, sustain, then the next unit should be a support, right? And if the next unit should be a support, my preference probably would be on Spargo, right? Because Spargo came out before Bubbin as well. And Spargo was shit on way longer compared to Bubbin, right? Bubbin had a time very, at least a lot more of the spotlight compared to Spargo, right? Spargo kind of just like for that half a patch, or not even half a year, people just kind of forgot about her until recently with Archer. So it would be pretty nice if they add a little bit more of a sound over there, right? So that's gonna be very good, very nice. Let's take a quick look into our A-box shadows, and we can wrap up this video over here. Okay, Avernite is gonna be our sub defense, is very good. Alright, Archer is still absolutely cooking. Holy shit, bro. 7 units in the Amplify is a bit crazy, guys. Let's just be for it, right? Let's just be for it, right? Bubbin at E0 can go down. Alright, I don't think she's gonna be the same tier as them anymore. Rame actually unironically stays in tier 0. Especially, at least if the boss has a toughness bar that can be broken. I think Rame is always gonna be quite good. Sunday, I'm gonna be, bro. A lot of times when I wanna use Sunday, he's competing with Cyrene. At least for my version 3 teams, right? And then if you're talking about a version 2 team pairing Sunday, he is not tier 0 performance. Because those version 2 DPS, they're not tier 0, right? So if the rationale for Sunday being tier 0 is because these units are tier 0, it's like Cyrene literally does the job way better. And you run Sparkle with Archer. You know what I'm saying? So between all these units here, I'll personally bring down these two, the double harmony siblings, down to tier 0.5, and then probably adjust this a little bit more to fit more into tier 1. Because I think like having 7 units in tier 0 is a little bit excessive, right? I would never exceed preferably nothing more than 4. But I understand that there are a lot of different teams, so and then one of them. But that's just gonna be that. Especially at EZO, right? Especially at EZO, I feel like RMC, as much as I love RMC, right? Bro, when the path comes, okay, or not, or any other path, right? Or like the path, right? Or like the hard. Okay, not what was that? The okay, any other path comes out, right? Whatever path is gonna be coming out, because okay, I only say because we had it, so I have no idea what's gonna be happening. If that eventually does come out, right? I would be expecting this to having a huge change in the future, if you get what I'm saying, right? Oh, wait. Pause. Adder, censor that part. I'm for real, by the way. Censor that part, right? Okay, just in case, right? Because I don't want Dow to come in my house right now. Okay, in any case, let's just kind of continue a little bit. Yeah, erudition, right? Erudition children. That would be pretty crazy, guys. That would be crazy. Okay, let's just kind of move on a little bit, right? Yeah, Aeronite is going to be at the main team. Okay, this tier placement for Aeronite makes a lot of sense, right? Because this is going to be like the MOC. I would also prefer her to see in this particular spot. I've had the rest of the things is like a little bit more flexible, and it's going to MOC. So I think Apoc, things look kind of okay. I really like how Face Xiao is still tier 0.5. Exceptional Apoc Shadows unit, unlike the bottom bitches over here, right? So rest of the units, I think we don't really have too much is gonna be done over here. With that, we are going to be coming to the end of our massive emergency tier list update. Is this the end? Nobody knows what's going on anymore, right? Word over there is gonna be Bleh. Join this, join this, join this, use code BOKE for 10% off gamers. That's all the best for guys. We'll see you guys in the promoting.